Right now, there are weapons pointed at you. You can't see them. You'll never hear them go off. And the target isn't your body, it's your mind. They don't need your permission. They don't even need you to notice. The best psychological weapons work precisely because you think nothing is happening at all. You've been hit by at least 3 of them this week, maybe today, probably while scrolling, watching the news, or arguing with someone online. Today I'm going to hand you all 6, what they are, how they get past your defenses, and exactly how to shut each one down. And the last one, number 6, it's the deadliest psychological weapon ever invented. It's killed more people than any gun. Let's load up. Here's the thing about a psychological weapon. A real weapon attacks your body, and your body screams. Pain, blood, alarm. You know you've been hit. A psychological weapon attacks your thinking, and your thinking doesn't scream. It just quietly agrees. That's what makes it so dangerous. The victim becomes the weapon's biggest defender. These aren't fringe theories. Every one of the 6 I'm about to show you is documented psychology, studied in labs used by advertisers, governments, cults, scammers, and propaganda machines for decades. The reason you've never heard about most of them isn't that they're hidden. It's that they work best when you don't have a name for them. The moment you can name a weapon, it starts to lose its power. That's literally what this video does. It disarms them by naming them. We're going to go in order, and they get heavier as we go. Number 1, you'll recognize instantly and feel a little stupid about. By number 4, you'll start seeing it in people you know. And number 6, the dehumanization weapon, is the one that has turned ordinary, decent human beings into participants in the worst atrocities in history. Not soldiers with guns. The weapon that loaded the guns into their hands in the first place. So stay with me, because by the end you won't just understand these. You'll be immune to them. Weapon 1, the one you got hit with already today. Weapon 1, the illusory truth effect. The rule is brutally simple. Repeat a lie often enough, and the brain starts to feel it's true. Not because you were convinced, because you got familiar. Here's why it works. Your brain is lazy on purpose. It uses shortcuts to save energy, and one of its favorite shortcuts is this. Things that feel familiar are probably safe and probably true. It evolved when I've heard this before, usually meant this is reliable. But your brain can't tell the difference between true because I verified it, and familiar because I've just seen it 100 times. To the shortcut, they feel identical. Researchers proved this decades ago. Show people a false statement once, they doubt it. Show them the same false statement a few more times, and their confidence that it's true climbs, even when they actually know better. Repetition beats knowledge. Now think about where you live. A feed that shows you the same claim from 20 different accounts. A headline echoed across every channel. A slogan chanted until it's everywhere. None of that makes a thing true. But all of it makes a thing feel true. This is the bedrock of propaganda and advertising. They don't argue with you, they just repeat, because they know repetition does the convincing for free. How to shut it down? When you notice a belief that feels obviously, automatically true, pause and ask one question. Do I believe this because I checked it? Or because I've just heard it 1,000 times? Familiarity is not evidence. Make your brain show its receipts. Weapon 2, manufactured consensus. This one hijacks one of the deepest forces in human nature, the terror of being the only one who disagrees. Most famous experiments in the 1950s showed something disturbing. Put one person in a room with a group, ask an obvious question with an obvious answer, but secretly instruct the group to all give the same wrong answer out loud. A huge share of people will abandon the evidence of their own eyes and agree with the group, not because they're convinced, but because standing alone feels unbearable. We are wired to follow the herd because for most of human history, leaving the herd meant death. Now here's the weaponized version. If conformity is that powerful, then whoever controls what looks like the majority controls what people believe. And in the modern world, the majority is shockingly easy to fake. Armies of bot accounts, coordinated posts, a handful of loud voices made to look like a movement. This is called manufacturing consensus, engineering the appearance that everyone already agrees so that real people fall in line without ever questioning it. You feel it as a quiet pressure. Everyone seems to think this, so I probably should too. But everyone might be 100 fake accounts and a clever algorithm. How to shut it down? Separate popularity from proof. Ask, is this actually widely believed by real, independent people? Or has someone just made it look that way? And remember the lab result. The spell breaks the instant even one other person stands with you. Be that one person. Your honest disagreement gives quiet permission to everyone else who was scared to speak. Weapon 3, and this is the one almost nobody has a name for, the thought-terminating cliché. A psychiatrist studying how cults and totalitarian regimes controlled people noticed something strange. These groups had little phrases, short, simple, final sounding. that they'd deploy the moment someone started thinking too hard or asking a dangerous question. And the phrase would just end the thought, shut it down. No argument, no answer, just a verbal off switch. You know these. It is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Don't overthink it. That's just how it works. We don't question that here. On the surface, they sound harmless, even wise. But their real function is to stop the gears turning. To make complex, uncomfortable questions feel resolved when they've actually just been avoided. In manipulative hands, these become precision tools. A controlling group hands its members a phrase to kill any doubt before it grows. A propaganda machine coins a slogan that ends every debate. The cliché does the censorship for them, installed right inside your own head, so you police your own thinking and call it wisdom. The danger is they feel like conclusions. They feel like you've thought it through. You haven't. You've been handed a stop sign and mistaken it for a destination. How to shut it down? Train your ear to catch the moment a neat little phrase ends a hard conversation. When you hear one, in others, or in your own head, treat it as a flag, not a finish line. Ask the very next question the cliché was designed to stop. The thought it tried to terminate is usually the one that matters most. Weapon 4. The fear then relief loop. This one is darker because it doesn't just change your mind, it rewires your loyalty. Here's the mechanism. When you're hit with sudden fear, a threat, an alarm, a danger, your whole system floods with stress, your thinking narrows, and you go into a primitive survival mode. Then, the instant that fear is lifted, you don't just return to normal. For a brief window, you become extraordinarily compliant, grateful, and open to suggestion. Studies have shown people are far more likely to say yes to a request in the seconds right after a fear is removed than at any other time. Now imagine someone who controls both halves, the fear and the relief. They manufacture the threat, let you marinate in it, and then they arrive as the solution, the rescuer, the safety. And in that flood of relief, you bond to them, you trust them, you obey. You never notice that the danger and the savior came from the same source. This is the engine inside the most controlling forces on Earth. A cult terrifies you about the outside world, then offers itself as the only safe place. A propaganda machine screams about an enemy at the gates, then presents its leader as the only protection. An abuser creates fear and then becomes the source of comfort. Fear, then relief. Fear, then relief. Run that loop enough times, and a person will defend their own captor. How to shut it down? Whenever someone makes you afraid and then conveniently offers themselves as the cure, stop and ask one cold question. Who created this fear in the first place? If the person scaring you is the same person saving you, you're not being protected, you're being farmed. Weapon 5, the foot in the door. It's how people end up somewhere they swore they'd never go. One small, reasonable step at a time. The principle comes from a simple experiment. Researchers asked homeowners to put a huge, ugly sign in their front yard. Almost everyone refused, obviously. But with a different group, they first asked for something tiny. Just display a small card in the window. Easy. Most said yes. Then, weeks later, they came back with the big, ugly sign request. And this time, far more people agreed. The tiny first yes had quietly changed how people saw themselves. I'm the kind of person who supports this, and once that identity flips, the big ask isn't a leap anymore. It's just consistency. This is the most patient weapon on the list, and the most dangerous, because no single step ever feels alarming. That's the whole trick. Nobody gets radicalized in a day. Nobody joins a scam in one move. Nobody crosses a moral line in a single jump. They get walked across it, one harmless-looking step at a time, each step making the next one feel normal. By the time you'd want to say no, you've already said yes 100 times. And stopping now would mean admitting all those earlier yeses were a mistake. Manipulators of every kind know this. The scammer starts with a tiny favor. The extremist group starts with a reasonable-sounding complaint. The controlling partner starts with one small boundary you let slide. How to shut it down? Judge each step against where you started, not against the step before it. Zoom out. Ask if my past self saw where I am now, would they be okay with how I got here? And give yourself permission to stop at any point. Those earlier yeses are a sunk cost, not a contract. And Weapon 6. The deadliest psychological weapon ever deployed. It has never fired a shot, but it has made possible nearly every mass atrocity in human history. It's called dehumanization. Here's the terrible truth it exploits. Most human beings have a deep, built-in resistance to harming another person. It's hard to hurt someone you see as fully human, with a family, a face, a story. So before the worst things in history could happen, that resistance had to be switched off. And the way you switch it off isn't with violence. It's with language. You stop calling them people. You start calling them an infestation, a disease, vermin, a flood, animals. You teach a population, slowly and relentlessly, to stop seeing a group as human beings and start seeing them as a problem to be cleaned up. And once a mind genuinely stops perceiving a group as fully human, the normal brakes on cruelty quietly release. Ordinary people, people who love their own children, who'd never hurt a neighbor, become capable of looking away from, or even participating in, the unthinkable. Not because they became monsters, because a weapon convinced them their targets weren't people. Every genocide studied by historians shares this fingerprint. It always starts in the words. Long before any physical weapon is raised, the psychological weapon does its work. It rewrites a group of human beings into something less than human in the public mind. The bullets come last. The language comes first. This is why it matters so much that you can recognize it, because it never announces itself as hatred. It arrives as just describing reality, as edgy humor, as us versus them framing that feels almost reasonable. How to shut it down. Stay alert to any language that strips a whole group of their humanity, that turns people into insects, diseases, floods, or numbers. The instant you hear a human group being talked about as something to be exterminated, cleaned, or removed rather than as people, recognize the weapon for what it is. Refusing to let any group be stripped of their humanity in your own mind is not just politeness. It's the single most important psychological defense a society has. So there they are. 6 psychological weapons: repetition that fakes truth, a crowd that fakes agreement, a phrase that kills thought, a fear that buys your loyalty, a tiny yes that becomes a huge one, and a word that erases someone's humanity. Notice what every single one of them has in common. They all work by getting underneath your conscious thinking, by making you feel something is true, safe, agreed upon, or resolved, before your slow, reasoning mind ever gets to weigh in. None of them survive being looked at directly. That's your master defense, and it's almost laughably simple. Slow down and name what's happening. The pause between feeling and reacting is where all of your power lives. When something feels automatically true, name the repetition. When everyone agrees, question the crowd. When a neat phrase ends the conversation, ask the next question anyway. When fear is followed by a rescuer, find who made the fear. When you've taken small steps, zoom out to where you started. And when a group is being stripped of their humanity, refuse it completely. You don't need to be smarter than the people who build these weapons. You just need to be slower to react than they're counting on. Awareness is the armor, and you just put it on. Here's the strange gift of understanding these weapons. You can never be hit by them the same way again. A weapon you can name is a weapon half disarmed. Now multiply that by 6. But there's a level above all of these. A single technique so powerful that one sentence, said the right way, can rewire what millions of people believe at once. That's where we're going next. Subscribe, and let's keep pulling these threads. This is Never Heard About.